for you?
So we don't, you have.
Actually, they are.
No, I have a ticket tonight.
Summertime, I thought. Oh, it's still
There's a problem down here.
But yeah.
There we go.
One thing we do. I guess the answer is
Actually, I was going with my captain, but it just no But I wonder why. So his favorite, his wife was the one. No one leaves in April. No one that apartment complex was trying to do a dumb turkey for family, all that. And one of the ladies opened the door. One neighbor was his wife.
Good evening. Welcome to our November 1 City of Des Moines Plan and Zoning Commission meeting. These are our rules and procedures. The Plan and Zoning Commission is an advisory body to the City Council. The City Council holds a public hearing and then makes a final decision on all matters before this commission other than site plans and subdivision flats unless denials or conditional approvals are appealed. So please contact the city clerk or the community development staff for details on council hearings. Tonight, applicants will be given 10 minutes to present their request, and then proponents and opponents from the public are then allowed to speak in that order, with each speaker being allowed a maximum of 5 minutes. An applicant is then allowed 5 minutes for rebuttal. The hearing is then closed, and the commission will discuss and vote on the issue. All comments are to be germane to the item under consideration, and speakers are to maintain a courteous manner. Items listed on the consent portion on the agenda will not be individually discussed and will be considered for approval in accordance with the recommendation in the staff report unless there is an individual present or a member of the commission that requests that that item be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately under the public hearing. The City of Des Moines is pleased to provide accommodations to individuals or groups with disabilities and encourages participation in city government. To better serve you, when possible, please notify the city at least 3 business days in advance at 283-4209 should special accommodations be required. Assisted listening devices are available for meetings in this location. Plan and Zoning Commission meetings are broadcast on Mediacom cable channel 7.1 or 7.2 for customers with that service. And transportation for the City of Des Moines meetings can be scheduled to and from Dart Central Station at 620 Cherry Street. To reserve your route, please call Dart on-call scheduling at 283-8136. Calls for trips are accepted up until 5 p.m. of the day prior to the meeting. And please be sure to mention in your request that you require transportation for the City of Des Moines meetings at this location. This notice is intended to comply with accessibility requirements of the Americans with Disabilities Act. All right, I think we can establish that there is a quorum present. And just out of curiosity, for those who attended the last meeting, only those who attended the meeting, have you had a chance to review the minutes? Could you please raise your hand if you did have a chance, because I want to get an idea if people feel confident to vote on the minutes tonight. Okay, and so the rest of you either were not present or didn't have a chance to review them. How many was it again? Was it I think I'm going to table. Yeah, we'll table the minutes until next meeting to approve. Okay, so consent, here, we have nothing so far in the consent agenda. However, I want to understand if this is correct, that the request from Bridge District Townhomes for review and approval of the following property at 720 and 730 East 2nd Street for amendments A and B, Plan Bridge District 3 under design guidelines for multiple family dwellings to allow construction of 49 three-story row homes. The applicant has agreed to all of the conditions in the staff report. And so this item is a candidate for consent. Is the applicant here to affirm that you agree to all the items that were in the staff report? All right. So commission, well, just a minute, there's another. We also have item number 2, which is a request from Quick Trip for review and approval of a site plan Quick Start Convenience Stores 1053 under design guidelines for gas stations, convenience stores, and under guidelines for extension of off-street parking located at 4101, 4105, 4111 Hubble to allow development of a 10,289 square foot convenience store with a pump island canopy for 16 fueling stations. And again, it is my understanding that the applicant has agreed to all of the items in the staff report. Is the applicant here tonight to affirm that? All right, and then I do need to ask, is there anyone in the audience that wishes to hear items 1 and 2? All right, is there anybody on the commission that wishes to hear those items? Otherwise, we'll move more to consent. You want to hear them?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'll make a motion
Okay.
to move item 1 and 2 to consent agenda.
Thank you. All those in favor of the motion to move the items to consent, items 1 and 2, please signify by raising your hand. Okay, appears to be a majority. Were there any objections? All right, so then now I believe we need a motion to approve these consent items.
Moved.
Right. All those in favor of approving items 1 and 2 under the consent agenda, please signify by raising your hand. Got it. Were there any objections? Any abstentions on the consent? All right, thank you very much. So for our public hearing tonight, we will move to item number 3. And this is a request from KLM International for review and approval of a site plan, KLM International under design guidelines in MPC districts on property located at 901 19th Street to allow for parking lot improvement for parking.
Chair, members of the commission, Jason Van Essen, the city planning staff. Just get everybody acquainted with the subject property. This is a aerial. The property is highlighted in yellow crosshatch. It's in the northwest part of Sherman Hill neighborhood near MLK at the corner of Crocker and Cottage Grove. We do mail notices for site plans. It didn't have any responses. That's what this map shows. Few photographs. North edge of the property. So this is an existing parking lots proposed for improvement. This is looking south back towards the church building, so kind of into the site looking towards the east. And then this is along Crocker, looking north up through the property, former alley right away along this edge through here, just to give you some orientation. The focus of the site plan is the parking lot, improving the parking lot, bringing it into conformance with current standards as part of the renovation process of the site. The church building has had work done towards it, it's being improved, and so this is kind of correlates with that to bring the whole site into conformance with current standards. I can see some landscaping showing on here, parking lot, basically the same configuration that exists today. I think the most efficient way to go through this is just to breeze through the staff recommendation and a few conditions that we have. I think most of them the applicant is generally agreeable with. I know they had some specific questions to staff about fencing along the parking lot. So I believe, I'm not sure where they are on their feelings towards that. I'll let them speak to that when they come up to the podium. So we are recommending approval subject to compliance with all administrative comments to the Permanent Development Center, standard condition you see on all the site plans and plats that we bring forward to you. Item 2 is that any construction, including sidewalks, fences, within the portion of the property that's in the local historic district shall be reviewed by the Historic Preservation Commission. The boundaries of the district encompass the church to the south and much of this alleyway. So the parking lot, the bulk of the work is not in the district, but there is some parts of this site plan that are. So we just wanted to cover that, make sure that that was included in there and noted. 3 is the installation of a sidewalk along Olive Avenue street frontage. Right now there is no sidewalk along the north of the property. This is standard comment. When site plans and plats come through our review processes, we're trying to get those installed as part of that and comply with current standards, which do require walks. Number 4 is the provision of documentation of access and easements necessary for the required parking space for 916 18th Street. That is this building here. You can see that there is a stall that's been reserved for it. We understand that the easement's been recorded. We just want to make sure that we have documentation of that. It's kind of a minor comment. 5 is a review and approval of the finalized landscaping plan by the planning administrator. We're still sorting some things out with them. We've been talking about placement of street trees to work around the architecture of the building. The landscaping plan would also cover any fencing. And so we want to be able to continue that dialogue with the applicant, and condition 5 would allow us to do so. Number 6 is that any dumpster enclosure shall be constructed of masonry that is compatible with the primary building, solid steel gates. There is a note on the site plan that says that they're not intending to have a dumpster that would require an enclosure, but we just want to make sure that if down the road that changes, that we have that covered. There was a spot on the site plan that kind of looked like an enclosure, so we just want to make sure that that's covered. 7 is just a basic comment about lighting and being downward directional, shielding adjoining properties. And then 8, the last condition, has to do with street lighting. So this is in the downtown overlay. This is in the Sherman Hill Schmid district. In the downtown overlay, we have, every time a site plan comes through, when you see development, we are requiring the black light fixture installation, metal pole, LED light fixture. We also, in this case, have, the Sherman Hill district has some historic style lighting that has to be installed as a collective. It's not really easily installed by a single development. And so to allow that dialogue to move forward is for what's the best resolution. We've come up with kind of this long and wordy condition. In essence, what this is saying is that we want them to be held accountable to that basic standard of the LED fixture. However, it may be best for them to put the funds that they would put towards that to the city so we can hold on to it and apply it to a larger project. And that's what condition number 8 would allow us to do. So happy to answer any questions you have. And like I said, the applicant's here and can speak better than I can to any concerns they have.
I have a question, please, Madam Chair. Has Sherman Hill decided on the design of the street lighting that they are going to, tell us a little bit about that.
Sure.
please.
I believe that their intent is to continue on the fixture that is there today, that style of fixture, and just get it in the parts of the district, the neighborhood that have not seen it to date. I don't know. I think Mike might
There
have more.
may
to add.
actually be alteration. The limits and the actual design have not been decided yet by the SMID district, so that's the purpose for the agreement and commissioning, to allow that to occur.
Thanks, Mike.
I have two questions, if I may. One, so the buildings to the east do not need access to the alley?
Right. The alley right now is vacated and controlled. It's incorporated into this parcel.
Okay.
So the applicant also controls this property and is proposing to provide it access as well, and we'll need to cover that, make sure that there's an easement for that. But they're not required necessarily to have their parking off of here.
Second question, what triggered this? There's been construction work for some time on the church. What triggers the need to do this?
Sure. My understanding is that the enforcement staff, as part of the process of getting the project closed out, that this is a part of that process. Maybe we should have done it sooner. I'm not sure of the exact history of the dialogue as to where we were in the processes to move forward and got here today.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions? All right, thank you. I think we're
Thank you.
ready for the applicant. Please step forward to the microphone. State your name and address.
Hi, my name is Jeff Wagner. I'm the architect representing Pastor Kenny and the cathedral. My address is 2006 38th Street, Des Moines. For the most part, we don't have any really issues with most of the staff recommendations. We do have a couple items we just would like to have a little bit of a review on. It faces me. I don't know if you can zoom in on it. We do have some light poles that are currently in the parking lot, and these are similar design to what's throughout the neighborhood. They don't exactly match what's called out as a direct downward light fixture, but they're historic in nature. We will cut them down to be 20 feet in height because we have to put in the islands for the parking, so we just want to see if we can get approval to continue to use these fixtures in the parking lot. The other issue that we'd like to see is the item 8, the one with the putting aside money for the Audubon light fixtures or whatever light fixtures the neighborhood decides to use. This is a nonprofit organization, and obviously money is tight. It's a church. And we just want to see if there's any avenues for relief that we can seek for putting aside that money. Those are really the only two issues that we have off of the staff recommendations.
I have a question. What is the amount of money that the city is requesting?
I don't have.
Go ahead, Mike.
It yet to be determined. It's a subject to a council agreement, so we have to get that engineering estimate done. At this point, they didn't show anything on their site plan, so normally that would be their responsibility to design and budget the cost for. So we probably would ask them to do that and provide an estimate to us, and then the council would have to approve an agreement and acceptance of an escrow.
So are we asking that certain light fixtures be replaced, or these are all new that?
These
where
are
there
lights
no
along the
lights?
perimeter,
Okay.
along the street, that would have to be replaced. The wood poles would have to be replaced with the black archetype. And all we're suggesting is they put into escrow an amount equal to what the black archetype lights would be. And then that would be put towards an even higher cost that the SMID would cover the balance for.
There are currently 2 light fixtures on the street. They're both on wood utility poles, and they'd serve as the overhead lines for the neighborhood.
Any other questions? Sir, you can come up. You're free to. Just if you wouldn't mind stating your name.
Okay. I'm Kenny Linhart. I live at 902 18th Street. I just don't understand why we would pay for the lights since the Schmid program, which I've been working with, or the last couple of years I was, we're going to do the volunteer Schmid on it, which is the idea is it's a self-imposed tax that we take on it. Nobody else pays for the street lights. Why would we?
Actually, the developers do pay for the streetlights in the downtown district, and so there's a development responsibility and there's a SMID responsibility, is the way staff has proposed it.
So if we hadn't been triggered to do the site plan, we wouldn't have had to pay for them?
You may not have,
Yeah.
but you do
Maybe
have
a
a site plan
process to that then.
requirement. So
Okay. So do we have examples of how many, that people that have to do this?
yeah, there's another project on High Street next to the Adong facility. So the apartment building, the Murillo building,
Yeah.
already put in the black archetype pole when they did their project. There's a project in between Adong and the Murillo building that is going to be coming in that is going to, the Sherman Hill Smith asked that they not put the black archetype pole in at this time so that they could do it as a bigger project. Our engineering department said that the historic lighting should be done as a larger project. So I felt it was responsible to have the escrow account on that project as well for the cost of this black archetype. Put that towards the greater project cost to doing the historic lighting.
So there's probably some figures and numbers that are already out there that we can get a hold of?
That one hasn't been submitted yet, that site plan hasn't, but
Okay.
the black archetype pole is, the Mid-American changed their funding formula on that. I believe it's in the $8,000 or $9,000 range for a pole,
A pole?
black archetype light with a
And
LED
how many
fixture.
poles would we need?
Pardon?
How many poles would we need?
Your consultant said there's 2.
There's 2. So it's changing out the other 2. We'd like some relief from that if possible. I mean, the demand's just to come back up and redo the application, and as a whole cost us nearly $60,000 we didn't have installed the project. And that'll just be another stall for us. So if there's any relief, we certainly would appreciate it. Anybody got any questions for me?
Any questions for
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Wagner? Do you have anything else?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Did you wish to come back maybe? You're good? Okay. All right, so I will close the public hearing, and Commissioner, what's your pleasure?
So, Mike, when you were giving those examples, were those not-for-profit examples or?
The Murillo building is a commercial apartment building. The property between them is a commercial property as well. But we've had site plan requirements on not-for-profits and for-profit facilities for years. It doesn't distinguish between those and the site plan requirements.
I have a question. Has there ever been any type of relief program for any nonprofits that have done such work in similar?
I think you've waived some sidewalks for some nonprofits in the past.
Lighting.
A couple of recent projects. I don't know specifically on lighting, but I know in particular Food Bank, Central Iowa, you did waive sidewalk on that project in the last couple of years.
I might point out we waived the sidewalks because in the majority's opinion, they didn't go anywhere. I'm thinking we have waived requirements for replacement of utility poles, and these poles were in the $80,000-$90,000 range. They're just hugely expensive. These are light fixtures only. I'm surprised there are only 2. This is a pretty good sized site that's bounded by 3 streets.
So are you offering a motion?
I'll make a motion. I'll move staff with two exceptions. One, that they be allowed to utilize their existing poles, which, in the parking lot, which fit the neighborhood, but that they be cut down to the height specified by staff. And two, I think they should put the money aside for the light fixtures, but for their protection, I think we should put a cap on it. So if you feel they're $9,000 a pole, I would say I'd like to put a cap of $18,000 on it.
I don't know the exact amount. I think that agreement's ultimately council's approval. So I would suggest the agreement has to go to council, so I would let council set the amount in any agreement. If you want to make a recommendation on that.
I'll make a recommendation of
Yeah.
$18,000. Again, I think they should have a protection that,
All right, so if I understand your motion, you are moving staff recommendation 1 through 8 with the addition of utilizing the existing poles that's already on site at the staff recommended height. And that, in item number 8, that they're for the installation of the light poles and the deferred amount be capped at $18,000.
Kenneth's question then, I'm curious, so the current poles aren't sort of downward facing, and I guess I'm wondering, I imagine that's to avoid light pollution. Is that, how significant is that issue for those couple of poles? The lights
Yeah.
going on.
Oh, yeah. It's, I'm not 100% sure where they set within the parking lot. I will say that it is, only residential property is on one side. So I'm not as concerned with if this was a smaller site that was kind of embedded in a residential area, as I am, and they have been there. And if we can shorten them up, I think it'll be okay.
Thanks.
All right, any other questions? We ready to vote? All those in favor of the motion, please signify by raising your hand. Unanimous. Thank you. Were there any objections? Thank you very much. All right, under committee items, we do have a commission item. We received a draft of the schedule for 2019 meeting dates. And were there any questions about the meeting dates? Action?
Move approval.
Thank you. All those in favor of the 2019 commission meeting dates, please signify by raising your hand. Any objections? Okay. Any other business from the commission? Mike, do you have anything?
No, I don't.
Great. So I will adjourn the meeting at 6:30. Mike, wasn't there one meeting tonight to discuss? There's more. Come back